This is an issue that folks in Georgia, as well as a couple other states, have been grappling with today. Now, we just learned from county officials here in Fulton County, the polls will be open anywhere from 10 minutes to 45 minutes past this 7 p.m. deadline when they were expected to close. Again, this is designed to give voters an opportunity to vote to make up for the period that these locations were closed today. Now, as Pam Brown was just pointing out, Georgia does have a rule that says an hour after your polls close, you need to report early absentee advanced voting. And in speaking to officials, they still believe we are going to see very timely results in Georgia, even though we have these 5 locations in Fulton County that are going to be staying open later, as well as a handful of other locations across the state. Still a lot of optimism from officials here that we are going to see some speedy results tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Republican Secretary of State there has been so confident in that. We hope that's the case. All right, Sarah Murray, thank you very much with that latest reporting from Atlanta. Let's go over to John King. I'm peeking behind you at the wall. I see Pennsylvania is up.
So as you were translating what that means, I want to try to add to that as well as we go through it. Number one, let's start out west, and I'm going to walk over this way for a minute. If this race comes down to Arizona and Nevada, which is distinctly possible given how close it was, you get the impression from what we just heard, the counts there could take a little bit longer. If it comes down 11 and 6 in terms of the electoral votes, if it comes down to out west. However, it's also quite possible when we get these, which some will be late tonight, some could be tomorrow or beyond, we'll get more. So let's wander back over here and go through what we just heard. And I'll have Pennsylvania up because you just heard from Kate Baldwin. So let's start with Kate Baldwin. She's here in Bucks County. This is one of the key collar counties right around Philadelphia. Democrats need to run it up big in Philadelphia and then do well in the suburbs around it. Bucks County, blue collar, cops, firefighters, close to Philadelphia, which is just here to the south. This has been the most competitive of the collar counties. The more affluent, more educated, Montgomery and Delaware have become overwhelmingly Democratic. Look how close Bucks County was in 2020, 52 to 47. Go back to 2016, it's even closer, 48 to 48, or 49 if you round up Secretary Clinton to 48 there. So that's a very important point when Kate is saying, you know, there could be keeping precincts open a little bit longer to deal with that. That's what happens on election night, number one. Number two, if you're still voting and you see things on social media, check with your state officials or your county officials. Be careful about what you believe on social media, especially if it's coming from somebody who has a stake in the outcome of the election. So that's Pennsylvania there. I just want to go quickly down to Georgia where Victor Blackwell was because he makes an important point. Both Sarah Murray here in Fulton County, some bomb threats, so they're going to keep polls open, an absolutely essential area, 10% of the state population. You see how important it is to the Democratic coalition there. But then where Victor was out here in Gwinnett County. Again, as Victor noted, this was Republican territory 8, 10, 12 years ago. It is increasingly Democratic territory now, you see right there. So keeping the polling places open for a little bit longer could be incredibly important. And again, bomb threats, that's unusual. Keeping polling places open a little bit later because something happens, that's part of the process, Jake. Happens all the time, and we just need to be patient.
All right, thanks so much. And we're getting a new read on the issues that matter to voters. David Chalian back with more exit poll information. David, how concerned are people about this issue of protecting democracy?
Yeah, it's the #1 issue, according to the exit poll of voters across the country in this election. 35% of voters in this election, Jake, say it is the most important issue. So we went a little deeper. Is democracy in the U.S. secure or threatened? 73% of voters nationally in this election, according to these preliminary exit poll results, say U.S. democracy is threatened. Only 25% think it's secure. Are you confident that elections are being conducted fairly and accurately in the United States? Well, 2/3 of voters in this election, 68%, say they are confident. 31% of voters say they're not confident that elections are being conducted fairly and accurately today. We also wanted to look at that by coalition of support here. So among Harris voters in this election nationally, Drake, 88%, nearly 9 out of 10 Harris voters are confident that elections are being conducted fairly and accurately. Only 11% are not confident. As I'm sure you can imagine, after the last 4 years, Donald Trump supporters, it's a totally different story. It's a split decision. Only 47% of Trump voters in this election say they're confident that the election is conducted fairly and accurately. 52%, a slim majority of Trump voters, are not confident, Jake. We also asked, are you concerned about violence as a result of the election? And overall, 71% of voters across the country, according to these early exit polls, say yes, they are concerned about violence. 27%, Jake, say no, they're not.
All right, David Chalian, thanks so much. Anderson, over to you.
Yeah, Jake, thanks very much. Just looking at the new exit polls, anything surprising on this?
Listen, I'm actually surprised by the number of